Good morning, viewers. This should have been a live program on YouTube, but unfortunately for us, the channel has not been able to hit up to 1,000 subscribers. Maybe because we've not really paid attention to hosting from here. So please, we would like to be doing some of these programs live so that people can ask questions and then, interact with us. So what you can do for us is, if you have not subscribed, please help us to do so that we'll be able to hit the 1,000 target. We are still very, very far from 1,000. And if you have friends and people you know that might be interested in what we are offering, what we are bringing to the table, you can also as well encourage them to also subscribe, so that we can hit the 1,000 target and even above it. Please, if you've not subscribed, do so. We intend to really educate our people from this platform on certain issues that has really been, at the middle of the debate of life. So having said that, I wouldn't want to waste your time. I'm Eze Monogomo Mazi Haichukwanyangu. And today I want to talk about the concept which was handed over to us from the West. God. From our own perspective, what we perceive or what we understand as being supreme beings or supreme being. Most of the times there are these complications. We tend to mix ideologies, philosophies, and conclusions. We gather from here, from there, from different places, and then we mix them together, and it becomes one. But when you sit down to analyze it, you see that the concepts are totally different, and they speak differently, and they represent different ideologies. And the philosophy is not the same. But it is wrong for us to assume that what is being given from the East is as well as what is coming from the West, because both sides view the sun from different perspectives. So let me start by saying something that is going to sound direct and blunt. Now, as far as we are concerned, Africans are concerned, the concept of God from the West, the word God, does not really exist, because if we try to equal it or substitute it with what we have, we'll be making a very great mistake. For example, I'm from the Igbo clan, and we have what we call Chi. Chinta, Chuku. Now, an average Igbo man who is unfortunately a Christian or a Muslim will tell you that Chi is God, because they've come to understand it that in that light and in that context. But the question is, does Chi translate God? Although in certain translations or in certain platforms, like maybe Google or whatever, or some dictionaries, you will see Chi being translated as God. But they are not the ones to give us the translation of what Chi is. We understand what it is because it is embedded in our own language, in the names we bear, in the things we say, and in the proverbs that we have. So we know exactly what it is. So what is chi? Now, chi, in a short terms, means spirit. Spirit. I don't want to go into what God means. Chi, in a short terms, means spirit. You hear names like Chisom, Chinyere, Chijoke, Chibuzo. Now, until one began embark on a very deep study or research, you will assume that what he's saying that God first, or no. We as a people, let us understand ourselves, believe that there is an indwelling spirit in each and every one of us. This is the Igbo concept and understanding of life. And that indwelling spirit that resides in you, that dwells inside of you, that motivates you, that is you, who is practically living on a physical body. That indwelling spirit is your chi. And it is a part of a collective chi. Now, if you don't understand that, you make a whole mess of the whole thing. That is why when you begin your journey, spiritual journey, as an Igbo man, the first question they will ask you, no matter the platform, no matter where you go, there is always a question that anyone will ask you: who is awake and who is learned in the things of Igbo culture and tradition? The first thing they will ask you, as long as it's in line with spirituality, is, do you know your chi? Do you know your chi? They are being particular. They are trying to personalize it. They're trying to make it is something that is unique to you. Your chi is not my chi. So they will ask you, do you know your chi? Have you found out who your chi is? Have you reconciled with your chi? You see, the names are coming alive like Chibuzo. So you need to reconcile with your chi before your life will truly begin. So what they are trying to say, have you been able to identify the indwelling spirit in you? Do you know who or what that spirit is or made of? Have you been able to come to terms with the purpose for which the spirit came to be? Because the spirit came to be for a purpose. It came back to this earth, took up a flesh that what you are assuming that it is you, which is the flesh, and which is not you. What is you is the spirit inside. But the spirit came here, took up that flesh, and then decides to get engaged with an unfinished business. And that is what we call destiny. So have you been able to find out who or what that spirit is? Because if you do, you will be able to identify the purpose for which that same spirit came back in another flesh. And that is when you've been able to find out your destiny. Because your destiny is buried in the purpose for which your chi came back in this flesh that you assume that is you. Because we always believe that who we are is the flesh, the body that we dwell in. But we are spirits that dwell in a body. We have a mind, we have a soul, but we are spirits dwelling in a physical body. Do you understand me? So because your chi is who you are, that is why we say every Igbo man is chi. So if we borrow the English word, which I don't want to borrow, it's like you are saying we are gods. Yes, that is what we are. You know, is it not funny that some years ago, I was a very popular known man of God. So I assumed anyway. But when I realized what life is all about, the concept of life, how it connects with the spirit world, I then realized that I am a God myself, if I should borrow the word. Because the moment you discover that you are a chi that is dwelling in this physical body, you will now understand that there is no limit to what you can manifest. What you can manifest, what you can preserve, what you can protect, what you can project. There is no limit to that. And that is where a lot of people are getting it all mixed up. So we are going to go on the ride now. And I want to explain to you individually, because what I intend to do is to start with creation. But I said it is more important for us to understand this so presented supreme being according to some script, some religion. And then let us see if it's an institution or if it's been wrongly presented. And from the perspective, I understand it, it is wrongly presented. I am not saying there are no supreme forces that are responsible for creation. But what I'm saying is not just an institution. It's not just one man with beards hanging up in the sky. No. There is more to it than just that. It's a wrong conception. It's a wrong understanding. So we need to treat them one after the other. But what I want you to bear in mind is this, that most of the names I'm going to be calling will be Igbo names. Yes. You have to get familiar with those names, because once in a while in the programs we are going to be doing, the names will be, flying overboard, landing, and then taking off. But I will be using those names because that is the terms for which I know, and I don't want to destroy the beauty of what we are, trying to touch or treat by, trying to get names, alternative names. No, I'll give them their names and I will use their names from beginning till end. So, having said that, let me go ahead and let's talk about self. Then, once we finish with self, we come to the main topic of the day. Who are you? Like I said, you are a spirit. You have a mind, you have a soul, you live in a body. Then there are other components that I have not mentioned, but I wouldn't want to go into them because we're not here to talk about the formation of a personality or a being. No, we are here to talk about Chukwu and Chukwu Kabiama. Are they the same? So, but I just want you to have an idea of where I'm going to, so that you can always use what is understandable, to try to understand what is difficult to understand. Now, having said that, remember I said you are a spirit that lives in a physical body. So what it means is that if you are a spirit and you live in a physical body, so you came from somewhere to dwell in that body. The body houses you. And one thing also you should know is that the spirit does not die. So when the body dies, where does the spirit go? Fine. That brings us to second reality. We are living in a world, in a physical life, in an existence that has two words, two different words, but two words that function together. They are embedded into one life existence. We have the physical world, we have the spiritual world. Two of them are embedded together. Now, when you die, when your body dies, not you, when your body dies, you go back to the spirit realm, because first of all, you came from the spirit realm. You go back into the spirit world, and your existence does not stop just because your physical body dies. It continues. Now, you may come back to the physical world if need be, but you go back to the spiritual world, and then maybe the circle of life will touch you again for you to reincarnate and come back to the physical world. So in other words, look at it, you don't die. Spirits don't die. What you do, you change the body, the outer layer, which is your physical body, once in a while. Now, why is it that our life started from the spiritual world, not from the physical world? Because the spiritual world was first created before the physical world. It was in the spiritual realm that the concept or idea of having a physical experience was conceived. It was not just a one institution thought. It was conceived by collective institutions, or let me use the word forces or spirit. It was conceived by spirits that came together and created this physical world as we see it today. That is why I say you cannot say one supreme being. There is no such thing. But we have elements of supernatural beings that gathered themselves together and created what we see today, the world as we see it today, the system as it functions today. So now, let's pick up the names one after the other. I wouldn't want this video to exceed 30 minutes. So what it means is that we'll have this series will take us while we are waiting for people to, it will take us through weeks while we are waiting for people to actually subscribe so that we can treat other issues. Now, there are a lot of these supernatural forces, but I'm going to narrow it down to maybe about a couple of names, and then let's say maybe about 10 to 15 of them. But each one, I want us to treat them with care. Because when you come to our cosmology, the Igbo cosmology, you will understand that these things, the concept is high. For example, the components that makes a human being is your chi. Of course, that operates with an ikenga. Then your agu. These things are personalized. They are particular. They are yours. Your chi, your agu. Then you activate or you drive the force. You move them to walk in the right direction by reactivating your agu. Now, it is from the known you get to the unknown. So when we talk about Chukwu Okike, now let us understand what our fathers meant by Chukwu. Because there was a time the word Chukwu was not in constant, was not common. People used words like Ora. People used words like Oma, like Agu. You understand? So there were words that people used to actually represent the Creator. Not because these names are supposed to be attributed to one particular institution. No. People called Ele. No. Why? It was because at every particular name they give, it is the understanding or the one that they are familiar with. But I bet you, these are individual forces that came together by reason of understanding and agreement to create the system of life that works for us. Now, let's start with the four forces that we are familiar with. I talk about the sun, I talk about the air, I talk about the water, and I talk about the earth that we understand. Now, but there is a force that people don't really know. That is the force of darkness. What is darkness? In Igbo language, darkness is being referred to as chi. And that is why when it's dark, they say chi ejila. In fact, it is the only thing known that name chi was directly given to. We understand that deities are here and there, but then what I'm saying is that is the one that is being referred to as chi. Now, I want you to understand this. Remember, we've been taught severally that there is this black hole, that when one gets into the black hole, you can never return again. You know, and you keep asking yourself, where is this particular black hole located? According to science, it is somewhere in the universe, far, 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 far away, but it's a black hole. When you read some of these religious books, more especially the Christian Bible, it talks about darkness. I think in Genesis chapter 1, verse 2 or verse 3, it talked about darkness covering the face of the deep. Remember, they said the black hole, darkness covering the face of the deep. And now, you must know that the gap between two physical days, what separates two physical days is darkness. So what gives life to a new day is darkness. What takes life from that day is also darkness. So, in other words, you will find out that darkness is what gives life to the day and what takes life to the day. So let's talk about humans. We normally say you can't cheat nature. So that means when it's dark, you must lie down and rest. It takes your strength out from you, and it returns it when day breaks. So it is darkness that keeps you pinned down in a place. We may all not sleep at the same time. But no matter how you do, or no matter what you do, you must at one particular point or the other submit to the force of darkness. So you now see it is a concept or it is a particle or a part of those forces that actually created this life and system as we see it today. Now, it is called Epachi, which is internal because it has no end. Darkness is internal. It's eternal. Eternal. Everlasting. Darkness is eternal. It's deeper, broader, larger than you and I can imagine. We have what is called aura. Because what I intend to do, I'm going to pick them one after the other and break them down, but not in this program, maybe in the next program, because time is not on our side. We have what is called aura. Aura says, I am divine. Now, like I said, there are certain places that the Creator is being defined as aura. But from what we know, these are individual, independent forces, but just coming together to create life as we have it today. But note, I said initially that this life was already existing in the spiritual realm. So that means it has already been created in the spiritual realm. It has been wronged. Because you can't say, you can't give a time frame. Because in the spiritual realm, it is eternity. It has no, you can't place a time frame on the spiritual realm. It has no beginning, it has no end, because it's eternal. And that is why they call Epachi, which is darkness. They call it eternal. Eternal. Epachi. Now, aura is another force, the force of divinity. The force of divinity. It is the collective force of divinity. It was in this parts and parcel of these wonderful forces that created the system as we have it today. So we'll talk about aura in details when the time comes. Then we have Agu, like I told you. Agu says, Agu is a transcendent force. There's no deity, of course, in Igbo land, that does not have its own Agu. So we are going to talk about Agu, the Agu that you and I can relate to, and then the Agu as in its total presentation. We will talk about Agu. Then we'll talk about Komosu. Komosu, which of course, you hear the word Otu and Osuagu, Osuji, and you ask yourself, what are all these terminologies? What does these things represent? We will be talking about it because we're talking about forces that were responsible for the system of life, the structure that you and I enjoy in this physical earth, and then the hope that we have after death. These are the forces, and we're going to talk about them one by one. What are they? What are their roles? What are their positions? Then we'll come to Oma. Of course, when you say goodness, when you say love, when you talk about peace, you see Oma in its fullness. We will talk about Oma. That's why you hear names like Ijeoma, Chioma, Oma in itself is a force to be reckoned with. We will talk about it. It's part of this wonderful supernatural spirit that created life as we see it and as we know it and as we intend to understand more about it. So we talk about Ikenga as well. Ikenga is a driving force. You understand? It has its potentials. Wonderful potentials. Ikenga is more or less magical. You understand? And you can't really beat that. So that is why no matter what you do, know your chi, Roagoge, when you connect with Ago, that is, like you said, Ago is transcendent. You must embrace and have your Ikenga. It is paramount. So we'll be talking about Ikenga. Ikenga, your own personal Ikenga, and also the one that what it means, the whole package of Ikenga, so that we'll have a clear understanding of what it is. Then we'll come to another concept, Ungu, which is marvelously creative divinity. Because when we talk about establishing a physical world, that where you and I are coming regularly to have physical experience, these are the major forces that formed it. Because Ungu is a creative force. That is why you see somebody and he's blessed with a particular talent. So there are forces responsible for that. So it's when you have elements of these forces responsible for it that when you do certain things, it becomes outstanding. And then it also it has a lot to do with creating weight. So for many of you who are really, inching to break through and also to change your life, you need to know more and all that you need to know about Ungu and how it functions. It will help you to create the kind of life that you want to live. Then we have Ele. Ele is a powerful force that many of us are even aware of. That's why the Christians, they use it at times like Elohim, El. Ele is El. And it's a name that is known a little and is being attributed to the supreme being, so to say. But like I said, these are spiritual forces, components that makes up the Creator. The Creator is not an institution, but it's a collective group of institutions that came together to create this life and the physical world as we have it today. So the list goes on and on and on and on. There are a lot of them who are responsible for what you and I are enjoying. Then there are also forces also that they created to help them, to help and enable them relate to us as at when or whenever we want to. So we will be talking about those ones, but first of all, we have to work on these supernatural, supreme forces that were responsible for creation. And all of them came out of Creator. from creation. All of them came out of creation. So how was the beginning? Like I said, the spiritual world has been in existence ever before the idea of having a physical world was conceived. And what we can tell you is at the point the idea of having a physical world was conceived, at that particular point, because we know that one thing broke itself into two, and another thing broke itself into two. So it was after several transformations, then the idea of having a physical act was conceived, and the physical life that we have it today was given back to. And that is why we are enjoying this physical experience. But we are going to talk about these forces responsible for this structure called physical life, or this system called physical world. We are going to talk about them one after the other. So I wouldn't want to engage you and take more of your time. Like I said, I promise that the videos are not going to be long, that they're going to be short. And so far, we've been able to, lay a foundation. When we start, we'll start picking them one after the other. So anybody that's going to follow us on our next video must first please watch this so that we don't have to go back again, because I'm going to start picking them. Remember, I mentioned to you Amu. I talked about Ikuku. I talked about Miri. I talked about Aja. That is Ajana. I talked about Ebachi. I talked about Ora. I talked about Agu. I talked about Komosu. I talked about Oma. I talked about the Kenga. I also talked about Ungu and the Ele. Now, I said I'm going to pick them one after the other. One after the other, one after the other. In fact, a program might just talk about one or two of them as time permits us. But I wouldn't want you to miss any, because I want you to get familiar with these forces that formed creation, so that when next anybody from the West tells you that he serves the Almighty God, you will understand how stupid and silly that his comment is. You understand? So let's understand that very well. Before I leave, please, like I said, for us to be able to go live and for you to understand and enjoy this program, because if we were live, maybe I would have given it more time. I want you please to subscribe. Subscribe to this channel. We are not asking you to pay money. We are not asking you to do anything. The only thing you can do for us, it won't cost you anything, is to subscribe. Press the subscribing button. Press like if you like. And then we will be grateful. That is all that you can do for us. At least we are bringing you these informations. It doesn't matter the trouble or the thing we go through to bring the informations to you. It may be something you like, it may be something you don't like, but we want you to encourage us. Like I said, my name is Ezemo Ihaichukwanyamu, Ezemo Nogomo, and I want you, please, to subscribe to this channel so that we'll be able to go live. We cannot go live except we hit 1,000 buttons. So you can also invite your friends, tell people about it, share this thing, and tell them to subscribe. Because once we hit that 1,000 target, we'll be able to go live, and you'll be able to watch us live. It's not good for us to be doing recorded programs, so that we can interact with those who are listening. We can interact with those who are watching the program. And that is what I want you to do. Please help us subscribe live, and then we will be. Like I said, my name is Mazen Ihaichukwanyamu. If you come to this channel, you will see our contact address, how to reach us, when to, how to call us. The email is there, the phone numbers are there, and our Facebook channel is also there. So if you've not subscribed, please subscribe. Thank you for watching.